Hey guys, my name is Marta, welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue. This is a new release which came out in late June, and it is a novel by an Irish author. The book takes place in the 2010s and it deals with the effects of that economic crisis in Ireland, especially with how it affected new adults or young adults or however you call people in their early 20s. The novel begins as our main character, Rachel, starts her last year of university as an English student. She is at the same time, because of the crisis and because of the fact that she is poor and can't afford her studies, working in this bookshop alongside other young people, between of which we must highlight her best friend and flatmate James, who plays a very important role in the novel. The novel begins, however, in the present, as Rachel gets the news that a professor she had during this last year of university and who had his own importance in her life, to say this away, and who played quite an interesting role in her life during this last year, happens to be in a coma. From that moment onwards, Rachel starts to remember how her relationship, to say it in some way, even though it's not how it sounds like, began and ended during this last year she spent in Ireland before she happened to move out to London to live and work and get her own adult life. The book then begins as a series of flashbacks to this last year, beginning with the moment where she started her last year at university. As I said at the beginning of the video, I think she was then in one of these professor's classes, and as many of the students in that class, she had a crush on this professor because he was young, he was very smart, and according to her, he looked like one of the professors you expect to see at university according to what you see in movies. So she, because of this crush she has and because of the fact that she talked about him with her flatmate decides that maybe they could launch a book release in the bookshop since the professor is launching a book. And the story starts from there, from the moment this professor meets James, who is Rachel's best friend, and starts a relationship with him. I don't know if this is a spoiler, but I don't think it is because it happens from the very beginning of the story and it's basically the driving point in the story. As any other novel set in this time period and in Ireland, a country that is known for its conservative values, I think. I am scared when I talk about other countries because I don't really know, but anyway, at least that is how they paint and talk about the city that they happen to live in the book, which is Cork, I believe. From that moment onwards, the moment where James meets the professor, Dr. Brian, the book will start to deal with sexuality, being homosexual in this time period, and being closeted, with love, and with many other issues that have to do with being a young person, basically. This is a novel that, as you can expect from that horrible synopsis I just gave, is filled with morally grey characters that you don't know whether you should like or not because of what they are doing, but it is also a novel that deals a lot with what it means to be young in a period of crisis. That is in fact one of the biggest subplots of the novel, since you really get to see how both James and Rachel struggle with surviving in this country during this time period because they do not make enough money. It is a book that, as the novel moves forward, starts to deal with other problems as James and Dr. Brian's relationship starts to get complicated, so will Rachel's life. She gets a boyfriend whose name happens to also be James, and their relationship is also complicated, so the novel also deals a lot with complicated relationships, not only with relationships that have to do with cheating, such as Dr. Brian and James, since Dr. Brian is cheating on his wife, but also with normal, difficult relationships between young people. And the novel also talks about quite a lot about the age gap inside a relationship, since both of our main characters are quite younger than their partners. The novel also deals with other things that have to do with young people surviving in a period of crisis, especially things that are related with the job market, since we know from the very beginning that our main character is going to graduate, and we also learn at the very beginning that she doesn't really know what to do afterwards. The book deals with the difficulties she has finding a job that suits not only her needs but her degree, and also her economic needs, since she still needs to pay a rent and survive, and do some other things that happen later in the book and that I don't want to talk about because that I think would be spoilers. The book overall, I would say, deals a lot with Ireland as a very conservative country, as I said, with all the things that includes, including health, access to medicine, friendships, sexuality, jobs and economics, and family. It's a novel that deals with many themes that I think can intrigue lots of people, especially young people, because we are also in a crisis now, so reading about the 2010 crisis is quite relatable. I think this is overall a novel that you would like if you like stories that talk about a lot of different things and that have quite a lot of plot twists. Since this book, or at least it had that effect on me, is usually showing us plot twist after plot twist. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know what's going on with my English today. I can't really speak. But anyway, this is moving now away from the plot because I'm scared I'm going to spoil something if I continue talking about what happens. This is also a novel that shines because of its characters, especially because of Rachel and James. They are quite realistic characters. As I have said, this is a book in which the main characters are pretty much morally ambiguous. They make some poor choices and they get angry and mad and act sometimes a bit without thinking much before acting, but all of that are also at the same time things that have to do with them being young, which makes them pretty much like a real life person. This is also a book in which friendship plays a big role, so if you like books that deal with friendship, especially with friendship in your 20s and what happens as you start to create your own life, you are going to really enjoy these scenes by the end of the book. Even though we learn this at the beginning of the story, when Rachel starts talking about James and how they are now separated, you know that their friendship is going to be evolving throughout the story, and that even though they start as very close, living together, that is going to change. This is also a book that deals a lot with following your dream. As I have mentioned, the book touches upon the fact that Rachel wants to find a job that suits her needs and her hobbies in a way. She's quite a reader, she likes to read, so she would like a job that has to do with books. And that is something she pretty much struggles with as the novel moves forward. And the different jobs she finds after the bookshop are not good for her, nor her mental health. That is another point that the book talks about, mental health, and how it affects people, not only young people but also adults, as you will see if you read it. In a much less serious tone, this is for sure a very funny book. One of my favorite things in this novel was the writing style. I really like Caroline O'Donoghue's tone. She is quite ironic, funny, sarcastic, and really knows how to picture a young person's speech. I think she's also quite young. But anyway, I think I've said all I wanted to say about this book. As I have said, this is a book that you cannot talk much about without giving away spoilers, since it is a work of literary fiction, so things happen one after the other one, and different plot lines dealing with different controversial topics in Ireland and in the world in general at some point in time happen to appear one after the other. But anyway, as I have said, this is a book that deals with pretty controversial topics that shouldn't be controversial by any means, and that I think that if you like to read about those kind of stories, you will really enjoy. So overall, I gave this book 4 stars. I will be looking forward to reading more from this author. I don't know if this was her debut or if he has anything else published out there. If not, I will see what else she writes in the future. And as I said, I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. And I highly recommend you check it out if it sounds like something that will intrigue you. Personally, I bought it because I like the cover. I love pink and the title also sounded intriguing, so I got it without knowing much about it, and it surprised me a lot. It probably ended up being one of my top reads of July, and I couldn't be happier I got to it. So yeah, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. Give this video a like if you liked it. Comment down below if you read this book and what were your thoughts on it. And I hope you guys are amazing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!